Good morning. The title for today's message, is Healing Requires Eradication of Parasites. We need to realize that the human race has been infested with cancer, a malignancy that has reached epidemic proportions that places the entire host planet, Earth, at risk of destruction. Unfortunately, the remedies being used to attack the cancer are themselves malevolent, poisoned by greed and lust for control over others. This method is no longer sustainable. In my New Year's message addressed to the cabal, I said, quote, "It's time to take out the parasites and psychopathic leeches that run our institutions, extorting resources and enslaving humanity," end quote. Indeed, if we do not strengthen the societal immune system quickly, we will not recover. The white blood cells of human society must be activated and empowered to do their job. Ignoring this will only prolong the suffering and could well end in the death of the planet and all creatures, great and small, who live upon her. Indeed, I just recently lost one of my friends who was diagnosed with cancer only a few months ago, and quickly it took its toll. I don't know him well enough at this point in time. He was closer to me in years past than in recent years, so I don't know what remedies he was using to treat the cancer, but I do know this. There are people on the planet today that are being given chemotherapy and radiation therapy, and in some cases, actually operations, surgery, to remove the malignancy. But the malignancy is in an attitude that permeates human society. And if we don't recognize this as an enemy, it itself is a malignancy. It is malevolent, as I said. If we don't recognize this and strengthen our own immune system by recognizing that there are spiritual warriors that must be employed and empowered and used to the fullest extent possible, we're not going to survive. That's the truth. No amount of wishful thinking is going to make the cancer go away. It has to be acknowledged and addressed for what it is. It is a poison. It is detrimental to each one of us individually, and more important to realize, to all of us collectively. If we're going to maintain life, we have to stop doing things that promote death and warn and apply wisdom to the situation in which we find ourselves. There is no escape by denial, by avoiding the issue, or by taking some magic pill or looking for some fast remedy. The remedy is we must strengthen our immune system. In human society, perhaps the immune system in the United States, for example, may be the militia. I have never been a proponent of violence in my entire life. Even though I served in the U.S. Army, I was never put in a situation where I had to kill or be killed. I don't know that I would have been able to kill another human being. Certainly not someone that I didn't even know or have any reason to kill. But yet there are those that are in charge of our society. I mean, people that pull the levers and push the buttons of the control system of the matrix. There are people that don't even bat an eyelash at killing others, at stealing from others, at depriving others of their natural rights to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Yes. And these are the people that we have empowered. These are the psychopathic leeches that have been in control. And for a long time, they believed that they had the right to control others. And they looked at it as a divine right. I don't care where you want to place the origin of this. It exists on our planet and has existed for a long time. But because we are able, through our technology, through our scientific advancement without a corresponding spiritual awakening, to actually destroy the entire world and destroy lives almost like a video game, without even coming face to face with those that we are destroying, just by pushing buttons in some dark room somewhere, or even touch screening it. We are able to destroy and destroy and destroy. And the motivation for all of this is a lust for power, as I said, and greed, as if money, gathering money and building bank accounts and treasure troves is somehow an enlightened avocation. It's not. It is a sick avocation. It is part of the malignancy. Now, what I've been doing in my meditations lately, when I do it, I feel more empowered. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by negative energies and feel disempowered. But when I really get to recognizing the problem and focusing my attention and my energy on building the societal immune system, giving permission to the extraterrestrials and to the elemental forces that we don't readily see with our five senses or perceive at all with our five senses, when I'm starting to empower them, I'm feeling empowered myself, realizing that they have a job and it's part of nature. Nature designed the immune system to combat, and that's the proper word, to combat invaders that don't belong in the body and don't promote health, or what we call homeostasis. They don't promote that. They promote the opposite. And they get the body to fight itself, to start going at war with itself, and it ultimately destroys itself. It's pitting the us against them in human society. And there are people that have used this method, this remedy, for a very long time. They create problems and they get us fighting about the problems, and we forget all about our immune system and the wisdom that we need to allow the immune system to do its job, to go and search and destroy the invaders. We, the human race, have been invaded. We are not only dying ourselves, we are killing the planet that we live upon. We are killing the land by an improper method of agriculture that feeds artificial fertilizers and stuff like that, by not having the wisdom to use diversity and planting acre upon acre upon acre of a monocrop, and all sorts of other things that are absolutely insane when we look at it from an objective other than profit. The whole idea of profit and control is an insanity. It is psychopathy. It is something that is not only unsustainable and unwise, it is destructive in its very nature. We're now gaining the wisdom, at least a number of us are gaining the wisdom to see this, to see that we can't keep planting the crop of profit corporations and expect anything other than corpses as the result. Because corporations are corpses. They are dead entities. They are legal fictions by definition, even definition within the current matrix that we live in. They are malignant. And our medicines in our so-called healthcare industry, our medicines are malignant. They are poisonous. They are non-effective because the profit margin, the profit motive is the goal. And as long as you make that the goal, we can't live on money. We can't live on gold, at least not in its hard, yet hard, shiny form. Maybe monatomic gold can be used for health purposes, but gold itself accomplishes nothing. What I've been calling upon my higher self, my angels, creator, is to help us strengthen our immune system, to weed out the parasites, to either quarantine them so that they can maybe go through a process themselves of transformation, or else kill them till such a time as maybe they're ready to be revived and brought back from death as beings, as individual entities, where they can maybe be brought back into society through a process of re-education and re-emphasizing the need to sustain life as being the only motive that makes any sense. Bear in mind, folks, and you need to understand this, the people that run the current matrix actually have an agenda to destroy the majority of humans on this planet. They have shown a wanton disregard for our rights as human beings, a wanton disregard for everything that's upright and decent, ethical, and morally true. They have demonstrated again and again an insanity that many of us are recognizing. But they have also created programs to keep people in ignorance, which is why the war on ignorance is so important. We need to wage enlightenment. We need to wage truth-telling and bring it to such a level that it can combat the malignancy that would destroy us if we don't take action. It's not about it's not about finding some hiding place. It's not about denying the problem. It's recognizing it. It's recognizing the problem and doing what you can. Now, I'm calling upon those that are crossing over right now to help from the other side, because we don't die. The soul goes on and on. It just changes spacesuits. But we need to start coming together, recognizing the enemy that we have, which is our ignorance, and which is our greed, and which is our desire to be in control, not just self-control. That's actually an attribute, a positive attribute, but our desire to control others so that we can feel safe. This is a sickness. This is a misdirection of energies, a poor focus, poor choice of what we focus on. We need to focus our energies on healing and on becoming well. We need to focus our energies on creating sustainable systems to replace those that are unsustainable. And we need to get rid of this idea of greed. Those with much are being called upon to share your wealth at this time so that those that are trying to heal humanity and heal the earth and to work with nature instead of against nature are empowered to do so. This is what we must do. We must eradicate or quarantine the parasites that are eating the host. We are the host. Humanity is the host. Earth is the host. We must stop the destruction of our rights. We must come together and speak loudly, and we must recognize the need for a strong immune system and bless those who do the work of actually combating the disease that ravages the human body of society, or the societal body, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I thank you for listening, and I want you to really take to heart what I'm telling you, because time is of the essence. We are on a positive timeline if we choose it. But if we don't, if we continue to bury our heads in the sand and not take action, we will die of the malignancy that infests us. Thank you for listening. Namaste.